Today, I'd like to talk about how the Buckhannon, West Virginia Police Department is dog shit. And they're human traffickers. They engage in and are complicit in human and child trafficking. And they have been since I was a kid. The first, if not one, it's one of the first reports that I had to make as a youth to that particular police department. It was all really specially set up to teach me that I couldn't really ask for help, and that if I tried to get help from authority, that they would not be able or capable of helping me. The first person, I'm pretty sure the first person, it might not have been the first person that I told on, but one of the earliest people that I told on was a guy named Ray Pryan there in Buckhannon. And that's not the person who I'm upset about at the moment, because it seemed like I'm not sure whether he got in trouble back then or not. I'm not sure what happened, but I'm pretty sure he didn't get in trouble. And that this setup that would go on with my mom taking me to the cops and pretending like I could make a report, this was something that they'd already done, just in different ways, and there was no result. There was no positive outcome in it. And so this would be part of the abuse that my parents and my purchasers, or potentially even like the CIA, who have been unfortunately really closely involved in my situation. It's been one way that they have been able to, mess with my mind, especially whenever I was young, and get me to not speak up for myself. And well up into my adulthood, I knew better than to speak up for myself, because I knew that I was just putting myself at risk by speaking up, because I was being heavily watched and no one was actually going to do anything about the abuse. Because they hadn't just come outright and told me everything that was going on, it was almost like everybody involved, including me, that we all had to play this stupid quiet game where everybody just pretended that things weren't obviously being orchestrated and things weren't obviously super messed up, and that things were obvious, completely different for the situation, for me and the situation that I was in, than it was for everyone else. As a victim, a lifelong victim of one of these child trafficking rings, Buckhannon ended up being one of the safe places for pedophiles and child molesters and sex offenders to just lay waste over the community, especially the young community there. And if anyone hasn't noticed, generally the young people, a lot of them in their teens, they go through kind of like what's it called when you're their growths are stunted, is kind of what I'm trying to say. And so what you're left with is basically a bunch of adults in teenager bodies, or in the same little bodies that they were in middle school. And it's because they were exposed to and subject to, and so much was forced on them as far as drugs, alcohol, and being introduced to, sexual abuses too early. You've got a lot of people in that town, in that region, and in the state of West Virginia, especially, and all throughout Appalachia. But in West Virginia, especially, where everyone's kept really isolated, and those are ripe places for slavery and trafficking. There are plenty of people who were born into different styles of slavery and trafficking. In different regions of the U.S. where you might see like gangs, there's different kind of racial gangs, and a lot of those people are born into those gangs. They don't really have a lot of say-so as to whether or not they get to join, or they're going to be accepted, or whether or not they're going to be, that's the life that they are, what I mean, conditioned and grow and live and grow into. And the same thing can be said for any poor community, no matter what the race, or any community in general. They don't even have to be poor. It could be a wealthy religious community. It could be any kind of community. But anywhere where the children are brought up, conditioned, either in childhood or in their teen years, to just go along with whatever and be submissive to whatever the situation is and whoever is in control. And then all of those people who are in control and in charge, ranging from the police to the medical people, the doctors, the everyone else that could be involved in a community, they will generally have everyone in a community working together, keeping certain people oppressed, for a number of different reasons. But tonight especially, I just had to make sure I got it past 3 minutes because I didn't want this to be a short, and I could have done it all within 3 minutes. But I was kind of trying to, explain things a little further in. Buckhannon, West Virginia, ends up being one of the places where people are being trafficked right now. Well, people are being trafficked all over the U.S., of course. But Buckhannon ends up being one of the really crappy places where the entire community will get in on what's happening to a victim. The police officers there will get into it. Child Protective Services will get into it there. And not just Buckhannon. This will happen in all the surrounding cities and those surrounding and stuff. West Virginia is especially bad for the corruption and the isolation. And I know that I have like these lines all over my face, and I love it. I'm gonna just go with it. I hope you guys love it as much as I do. Alright. So, since you're the ones who have to look at it. But anyways, getting back to being serious here. Buckhannon is a human trafficking shithole. It's a child trafficking shithole. They will get everyone in on their shit, including the management, the apartment managers, anyone who would be in control of, housing or anything like that. That would be a big thing because they're not going to want for specific trafficking targets or certain victims to have housing at all if they can help it. What that's going to look like in a small town is like someone putting their applications in, an application in to live in, multiple different places, and just being met with just total silence, just being put on ignore by every single person or, interest that you take in any place whatsoever. It can also happen with workplaces and career choices and options, by making sure that you never have a job, by making sure that no one ever hires you. That's also something they can do. Then they can also have you hired somewhere just so that you can be bullied, abused, oppressed, poisoned, and have a number of different things potentially happen to you. that are even worse than any of those. In a community like that, you could um, be visiting a healthcare provider of some kind, even as a teenager, and have something very obviously wrong with you, even terminally deadly, that could have been an issue caused by one of your caretakers. And it may be very obviously an issue that could have probably only been caused by a child's caretaker or a teenager's caretaker. Um, and the doctors, nurses, healthcare providers will just completely overlook that point, and they'll treat the kid for whatever, and no reports will be made about the parents. The general community in Buckhannon is kept kind of especially oppressed in a way, financially especially. Um, I really wish that weed was legal in West Virginia, because that is one of the ways that women are taken advantage of. Because weed is one of the things that the women can use to kind of relax, or to use instead of drugs as a replacement for hard drugs. The women, and a number of different people will also use it for medicinal reasons. And it kind of takes the women from this, real scared, intense state that that the guys, that the traffickers want to keep them in. So they'll try to kind of prevent the women from getting weed. And that's one of the reasons, honestly, why I think that weed isn't legal here in West Virginia, where it would grow magically. I mean, this would kind of be the place to do it. But they choose to be real old school, you know what I mean, ignorant about it, and keep it illegal. And that also puts the people who are just trying to chill, and the meeker women who are being trafficked, at risk in other ways. It also opens some of those people up to be set up for pot crimes, which is not a crime. Really smoking pot, having pot, using marijuana. As much as tards want to say that it's a criminal act, it's just not. It's just as criminal as being homeless. You know what I mean? Two things that aren't criminal that you guys have criminalized, which are unnecessary laws that you've imposed over us, which is potentially kind of the same thing as fucking slavery. The Buckhannon, West Virginia Police Department, I've had to complain about sex offenders to them multiple times. But the last several times that I talked to them, it was more than once. I've made a report about J.W. Champ, and more than once I've made a report about Timothy Strother, and nothing has been done about either one of those situations. I've just been met with a lot of silence and ignorance. And I've also been met with those same very people who I reported to you all riding around on their bicycles, playing in my face, having people walk me out to the curb, acting like it's for no reason when it's so that they can play in my face. After I've gone to and or called and made reports to your shitty ass chomo sex offender fucking police station about rapist trash, what you're actually supposed to do is something the fuck about it. Not just sitting on your fat, fucking, lazy, retarded, child trafficking fucking asses. Your entire police station is a fucking joke. There's no reason why any of us should have to make 2 or 3 police reports about a fucking sex offender and a fucking stalker. It's not just the Buckhannon Police Department, because I've put enough information about the fucking pedophile, Tim Strother, to have his ass fucking put in prison. All that information is on my fucking YouTube channel. You know, it's not that big of a fucking channel. I don't have hundreds and hundreds and thousands of videos or posts. It shouldn't be that difficult to find whatever fucking information you guys need. I already have provided everything that you would need to convict the fucking trash. I almost said, dumpster. I almost called him a dumpster. And he is a dumpster. You know, I don't just make reports, rape reports, for the fun of it. It's not fun to have to make reports to you fucking retards. And I am gonna call you retards, and I'm not gonna show you respect, because you guys don't actually have any respect for any of the fucking civilians around you or for the community around you. When I found when I found PDF files on JW's phone, I couldn't even go to the police in Buckhannon, West Virginia, because I know that you guys are all fucking pedophiles, that you're part of a trash fucking child trafficking ring. Slacking ass fucking dope dealing motherfucking trash. Yeah, so, this isn't the only video that I've made, and it probably won't be the only video that I make about the fact that the Buckhannon Police Department is trash. Child trafficking trash at that. And, they're not the only police department. They don't get all the credit. No, they don't. They're also not the only law enforcement force who is slacking fucking ass about sex offenders. So I'm just going to repeat this. The Buckhannon, West Virginia police force is dog shit. They're a bunch of human trafficking fucking bitches. And I told the state troopers in West Virginia there where Luke Stout's body is, and all I've heard in return are fucking crickets. It's been nearly a year since I called the West Virginia state troopers to tell them where Luke Stout's body is, and no one gives a fuck. Do you know why? Because they don't want you to know where fucking Luke Stout's body is, because they're the ones who fucking put it there. You know, it's really difficult to live in a shithole like West Virginia where no one wants you to make any fucking police reports because everyone wants you to fucking die because they're the ones fucking doing the shit. Aside from that, West Virginia is a really beautiful state. It's too bad no one can actually live there because of the corruption. The same can be said for the entire nation of Babylon, America. This would be a really beautiful nation full of beautiful people, but the leadership and law enforcement have corrupted it so severely that, you know, God himself might just have to lay waste to this fucking kingdom. He really doesn't have much to work with. You know, it's slim fucking pickings out in this bitch. So, they're not on the sex offender registry the way that they should be. They're not in prison the way where they belong, along with a shitload of other people. Their names are J.W. Champ and Timothy Dwayne Strother. It would be James William Champ and Timothy Dwayne Strother. They're both fucking retards. They're both sex offenders. They are both active members of an active child trafficking and exploitation ring and human trafficking and exploitation ring. They were both given government contracts to do fucking horrible shit to women. So they're not just criminals, they're criminals who work with corrupt government affiliated criminals, federal agents, corrupted military personnel, and trash of that nature. No detail is too much detail for me, but I understand that it is for everyone else. And Just just clearing it up. JW Champ and Timothy Strother are sex offenders. Do not help them. They're disgusting. And if you help them, you fucking belong in prison too. I know that Timothy Strother's mom, his mom also belongs in prison with him. His ex-wife, Ona. Not only did these guys take themselves down, they took their whole fucking families down. They took fucking friends, relatives, all kinds of people down with them. And what's really sick and disgusting is that neither the feds or the police think that, sex crimes are important enough for any of their departments to handle properly. So, not all victims are going to stay silent forever. You guys have ignored me for my entire life, basically. It's been made more than evident to me that law enforcement doesn't give a single fuck about my kids and I, or my kids or I, or justice actually being served. It may be that the only way justice is served is by me making these fucking videos. I'm definitely not gonna die without getting that information out. And there's a hell of a lot more information that needs to be exposed as well. So you guys can just stop your fucking shit. So, again, the Buckhannon Police Department and the Elkins Police Department are involved in human and child trafficking, baby trafficking, torture, illegal and unethical experiments. They actually called those areas the experimental zones because of just how much pull different trash, pedophile, sex offender government agencies have there. And they've just made a complete, just horrific playground of everyone. It's fucking disgusting. And this isn't the first time I've said it. And I'm really tired of being fucking ignored out here. So there's at least 2 people there who should have been in prison already, but motherfuckers don't know how to do their fucking jobs. All right, thanks.